Oh, yes! This is the Flex Network, co-comprised with Roster Watch for our Week 7 Start Sit podcast. Get your answers here live. Get your questions ready. Get all of your juice and drink it. And let's get fired up for our Week 7 Start Sit cast. Starting on my left, it's a backwards cam. One at Sealy_Shane. We call him Flex Shane. It's an easy one. Underneath, DFS Armies at Alan Seslowski, ALANSES Low Sky. Good morning, guys. We already got our first question. John M. What's up, Roster Watch Nation? Lat Murray. Oh, we've had this question. I think we got Brandon. What's up, man? Good morning. Get your questions ready, guys. We are now in a condensed 1 hour long cast. So let's just get ready to rock. We've got this question a lot this morning. Lat Murray getting the start with Kamara out this week. Are we going to go with Lat Murray or Chase Edmonds with David Johnson playing versus New York? Now, the game is supposed to be a wet one. I've heard that it will be raining all the way through. Go ahead.
There's a lot of evidence, and that rain is outside of a torrential downpour doesn't really affect. It's wind is the key factor. So rain wouldn't really bother me too much. It's maybe if it's a tiebreaker, sure. But this is a question I keep getting a lot of. Lat Murray in the bad matchup or Edmonds with David Johnson playing. And I have, it depends on situation here. I think Chase Edmonds is still good for 10, 11 points. Lat Murray, obviously lower floor, and I think actually a higher ceiling today because he is the guy with 18 plus touches coming his way.
Shane?
Do it. Yeah, no, I think you're overthinking this here. I mean, you've got a starting running back, and in the rain, if it's slippery conditions, that actually favors the ball handler, right? He knows what he's going to be doing versus the defenders who have to react. So I would go Latavius Murray. I don't love it. I've been answering a lot of questions in the Roster Watch chat forums this morning, and there's been a lot of Latavius Murray questions, and it is kind of case by case. Cool. In this case, I would roll with Lat Murray. I feel like we're overthinking it here.
Latavius Murray getting the start today. Now, if you Flex Nation, Kevin, what's going on, brother? We got it, guys. We're debuting the new banner on the Sunday morning start sit show. What's up, E-Walps? Good morning. Latavius Murray has been one. We don't love Latavius Murray here at Roster Watch Nation. Latavius Murray is a slug. He is a slug. Also, guys, with your questions, team name and record. Okay? Team name and record, or no questions asked here. Just joking. We'll still answer them. But we love you guys. Good morning to everybody. B. Ollie, good morning. Brandon, good morning. Kevin, E-Walps, good morning. John, what's up, guys?
What is this, a shout-out show all of a sudden?
I'm so sorry.
Hey,
I just want to say hi.
People don't say hello nowadays. It's just boom, business. No, we like the hellos. Al,
should we greet them, handshake them in the door? I mean, we're let's go here.
All right,
let's go here.
Let's freaking do it.
So Brandon Buxton here. Thank you for your question, Brandon. Sorry, the previous answer is Lat Murray all the way over Chase Edmonds, but I've got another Lat Murray question I'd like to propose to you guys that I got on Twitter. I think is a great conversation. Mike Williams, Marvin Jones, or Robbie Anderson, Shane?
Oh, good Lord. I don't like Mike Williams. I've told a few people to sit Mike Williams, and then obviously the Robbie Anderson matchup just does not get me make me happy at all. I go Marvin Jones, man. I mean, you see that this Detroit offense is starting to throw the ball a lot more. They're kind of the offense that we thought they were going to be last year, and I'm rolling Marvin Jones here.
So Marvin Jones in a tough matchup against Minnesota. I wouldn't say that they're, the end of the pack. Roster Watch has them in the matchup tool as a middle of the road matchup for Marvin Jones here. I actually really I like Robbie Anderson. I mean,
me too.
Go ahead.
Stephon Gilmore.
I was saying, well, we talked about this on our Friday Flex Finder show that Robbie Anderson is probably going to be double covered the minute he gets off the bus, right? We talked about that.
Oh, God.
A player like Robbie Anderson is can beat double coverage. This is the kind of guy that can't be double covered because he's so much faster. He can get behind double coverage and still high point the ball. I think he is he kind of defies the typical guy that could be taken out of a game unless they triple him up. I really like Robbie Anderson in this matchup, but I certainly understand that there's some risk involved.
Well, Robbie Anderson for me, now obviously a lot of people are going to be on Jamison Crowder, and rightfully so, but it is another situation where Robbie Anderson could get a deep one. I mean, maybe Stephon Gilmore is not covering him. Maybe he's not locking him down. Maybe they move him into the slot. They just send him deep. I mean, that's what happened last week. And when you get him chugging down the field for an 80-yard touchdown, that's hype. That team gets hype. You can see that they start playing a lot better. I like Robbie Anderson. Marvin Jones is just hard for me to start at all.
Tough matchup today too, right? It's a bad
tough
matchup.
Yeah. He's not a sexy play. Mike Williams also in a tough matchup. Tennessee not known to be very entirely friendly to the wide receivers. So again with the tough matchup against New England this week, Robbie Anderson, I think you just got to roll him out. He's just to me a better receiver.
I got a question, and this is more of a rhetorical question. You can answer it, but with the way Sam Darnold instantly injected life into that offense again, who would you rather have in real life? Would you rather have Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? I mean, it's just something to think about.
Oh, baby. So there's some questions on Twitter, and I was looking at just the Sam Darnold rest of the season, and it's juicy, man. He plays Miami twice, and I don't have it right in front of me, but there's just a lot of good matchups. I love Sam Darnold rest of the season.
Well, there you go. We did not help you at all, but no, Robbie Anderson or Marvin Jones. We're going to go Robbie Anderson for that one, Brandon. Thank you very much. Kevin S., T. Coleman or D.D. Westbrook in full point PPR. Kevin's our buddy, our friend here. Awesome. Thank you. Tevin Coleman or D.D. Westbrook says.
I think it's D.D.'s banged up. It's not even certain he's going to play. I think that, for this one, it's a little bit easier for me. I would go Tevin Coleman. He's certainly at least a 50% share running back in a good offense. Whereas D.D., like I said, already is the number 2 receiver, a little bit banged up. Tevin Coleman for me.
Oh, and they're playing Washington, man. You got to go Coleman for sure. That one's, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go with Coleman for that one. Coleman is getting the touches, and although Matt Breida had a very, very nice game, it seemed that it was kind of forgotten about that Tevin Coleman also had a nice game. I believe he's pretty clear the number 1 back there. I think he's getting the first opportunity, which is kind of crazy because Breida's such a great back. But yeah, let's go Tevin Coleman there. Ewalp's got a Lat Murray question as well. Play Lat Murray or Darren Waller in the flex?
Ooh.
Shane, go ahead.
That one's tough, man. I mean, Oakland's playing Green Bay this week. It's a tough matchup. Roster Watch has it as a 23 ranked matchup. Ugh.
Now, hold on, Shane. If you're a pro member at Roster Watch, follow them at Roster Watch. Get a pro membership at rosterwatch.com. Hopefully you have a pro membership, because this is where sometimes when you're splitting hairs, you like to go to these tools, and they have the DFS flex values based on Vegas props. We have Darren Waller as the second highest value. Now, that's based off their price on DK, DraftKings. He's got a 13.4 projected scoring total against his value on DK. That's 2.85. He's the number 2 projected best value, scoring about 13 points. So knowing that, Shane, Lat Murray or Darren Waller?
Look, okay, so Darren Waller, he's got he's projected for 5.5 receptions for 53 yards with a plus 135. I'm still taking the opportunity share with the running back who's probably going to get 20 touches today. I would still go Latavius Murray. Let's not overthink this, guys.
Says?
I really like Darren Waller with Tyrell Williams out as well. I just think that this could be one of those 15 to 17 target games. I certainly agree with Shane's rationale, but if it was my team, I'm going Darren Waller. I really like the spot for him today.
All right, we got Myers.
Byron.
Look who walked in the door.
Hold on. There we go. I think I'm good, man. How are y'all doing this morning? We got questions?
Good, brother.
Oh,
We got questions, Byron. Thank you so much for joining.
Do you have
us.
answers? Is really what we want to know.
I hope
Here, we
so,
got one
man.
real quick. This is a good one.
Okay.
This is a good one. We just answered it. I was overruled, but I'm curious to see what you have to say here. We got Latavius Murray or Darren Waller in a flex full PPR.
Waller.
Aha.
All right, 3 against 1.
Not even a question, but not even a thought. There you go.
PPR, I don't think so. His prop is big, man. I don't know. Take your chances with Latavius Murray against that Bears defense. It's a volume play, but I don't know, man. In PPR, I think I'm playing the pass catcher there.
Byron, on the show this morning on SiriusXM, you mentioned a little sneakiness with Zay Jones. Can you talk about that really quick? And because we haven't gotten any buzz on Zay Jones, and I liked what you said this morning about him.
Well, I mean, they made the trade for Zay Jones. I mean, he's been an inconsistent player in his NFL career, but certainly a guy we scouted closely back at the Senior Bowl. I mean, he's a good player. There's a reason they went out and traded for him. He's a good player. Hasn't totally worked out in Buffalo. He's flashed. You know, who knows how consistent he can be or what his absolute upside or ceiling is over the long run. But he's certainly a guy that can go big and pretty big in a one-game situation, or at least be serviceable. So, look, they traded for him. They're coming off the bye. They've probably known this entire time Tyrell Williams a long shot to play. So, you know, you look at the depth chart behind him. Keelan Doss is the guy the other guy I kind of like way far down the depth chart. But, I mean, remember, he was undrafted free agent. He had a great Senior Bowl, but out at Cal, a lot of people in the draft community really liked his chops. But Keelan Doss was undrafted. He got cut, bounced over to the Jaguars, then came back to the Raiders after the Antonio Brown debacle. So, he's somebody a little further down the pecking order. I know there's Hunter Renfrow truthers out there, another Senior Bowler. There's, Dwayne Harris. I mean, the other sneaky one in this matchup is Foster Moreau at tight end. Another Senior Bowler with some 3-down capability. So, John Gruden not opposed to going to 12 personnel and running 2 tight ends out. So, I mean, that's obviously like really hard play to make in any season-long format, but some folks play in ultra deep formats. Maybe that's at least somebody to keep an eye on. So yeah, but from Zay Jones' perspective, who the hell knows if it'll work out? But if you're in a desperation situation, I mean, it's a somewhat calculated play.
Well, and speaking about Zay Jones, I mean, when he came out in the draft, you were happy to get Zay Jones on your team if your team drafted him. I remember as a Seattle Seahawks fan, I was thinking, man, can he just get to me? Zay Jones in Seattle, I wanted that matchup. Obviously, he went to Buffalo, and it seems to not have worked out for him. But like you said, he's a great receiver with a good, he was an animal, I think.
It's a good matchup. It's a good matchup this week. You got to think at Green Bay, they're going to have to, if Green Bay was full go at their pass catching situation, I think that would really force the action in this game and probably force Carr's hand and by default, be upward lifting for somebody like Zay Jones. It can be a little more concerned. It could turn into an undercover stinker in Green Bay today with all the folks that are out, right? But
I see every one of our questions I'm looking that are piling up here. Every single one of them has Latavius Murray in it. I mean, why do you think he's so polarizing?
Well, because it's like you're going to get a lot of volume and there's nobody else there, but it's a horrible matchup. I mean, what could possibly go wrong when you play Latavius Murray in Chicago against the Bears defense when everybody else on your entire offense is basically hurt? I mean, you could flip it the other way. Like I know Alex was saying all the targets going to go to Michael Thomas with Cook and all the Kamara and all these Traquan and all these guys out. But, the other side of things, you say, well, like the Bears only have one guy they got to focus on then, and that's Michael Thomas, right? And so then the other one is Latavius Murray at this point. So I don't know. I think it's a guy that in your flex in a competitive situation, a lot of people are going to just have to play him this week. Right?
Flex,
you're worried about it. You're worried about it for sure.
He's my RB2 in a lot of places.
Yes, we are joined live by Byron Lambert from @RosterWatch. Go give RosterWatch a follow on Twitter. Get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com. Also follow us at the Flex Network 1. Berkeley Basketball Association Inc. needs 2 wide receivers and a flex. DK Metcalf, Mike Williams, Crowder, Auden Tate. Or do I put one in the flex, Murray or D. Henderson in the flex? Need a win badly. Badly need a win, 2 receivers and a flex.
Boy, these are excellent options. So let's begin there. These are all excellent options. Do we know if this is standard or PPR? I'm not sure I can tell here.
We do not know, but we're going to assume PPR.
Let's assume PR. Yeah.
I mean, PPR, I think is going to be pretty hard not to roll. Consider rolling Crowder out with the target volume.
You got to go Crowder. I think
right?
you have to go Crowder.
Crowder is one.
And then, I mean, I'm playing Auden Tate in season long as a wide receiver 3 this week. But, I mean, I tried the same damn thing with Preston Williams last week. It didn't really work out for me. So, who knows? There's a lot to kind of like there. But I'm not sure you could put an Auden Tate in over a DK Metcalf, who the cheat sheets really like in DFS this week. I think in a really sweet spot. Mike Williams, obviously. So, to me, you get Crowder in. Then you're deciding between Metcalf and Williams on that one. I might go DK Metcalf there. I'm so worried about the Chargers, and there's a sneaky sentiment for under the radar Keenan Allen this week. Hunter Henry has a big prop on the Vegas sheet. DK Metcalf isn't getting the volume that I like, but there's no better place he's going to go on opportunity. Seattle. I do, man. So I think I go Crowder and Metcalf, and then you're down to.
Latavius
Murray I'd like to know if this is PPR. So now we're down to Darrell Henderson, a guy I'm very interested in a deep flex and a season-long format. But it's pretty hard to put him in over Murray, so let's remove him from that situation. So we'd say at that point we're down to Latavius versus Mike Williams, I think is what you have to kind of narrow this thing down to. And then to me that comes down to whether this is PPR. I think I roll Latavius Murray over Mike Williams, man. So I'll probably put DK Metcalf, Jamison Crowder, and Latavius Murray, who, by the way, in Kamara's absent, Murray can catch the football. So in a PPR setting, that helps him out a little bit.
Another question that we've been getting a lot in the roster watch chat and on the message boards was Chase Edmonds versus Darrell Henderson for the flex. I mean, I know that one, it feels like a floor versus ceiling play. With David Johnson back, do you have just a lean just off the top of your head on that one?
I think very similar situations, right? It sounds like DJ is the guy who's at bigger risk of either re-injury or of limited snap counts in this one. So, and a lot of it has to do with we've got to make sure Malcolm Brown's out. If Malcolm Brown's not out, I don't think this is a discussion at all. I mean, he's doubtful. So
he's doubtful.
I'd lean towards Chase Edmonds in this one both in good matchups. I lean that direction just based on the fact that I think we could see Johnson either re-injure or go limited. If that's the case, like Alex said on the show, I mean, Edmonds looks like a guy with pretty big upside if he gets some volume, man.
Yeah, and Cliff Kingsbury said last week that he unknowingly shut him out of the game plan in the second half, Chase Edmonds.
He's a head coach, right? Like,
barely.
You should know these things, I would think.
Yeah.
Hey, Byron, have we had any news on Christian Kirk? Is he playing? I've read a couple tweets that he's not expected to play, Christian Kirk. So what have you heard?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same thing I'm seeing, man. That's a tough – can you guys see me when I have this other window up like this? You can, right?
Yes.
No, okay. I can't see your other window here.
No. He means can you see him?
Yeah.
I can see you, baby. Yeah. The money.
That just sucks, right? It doesn't seem to be affecting Kyler Murray though, which was my biggest concern. So we haven't really gotten Fitzgerald going off the last few weeks like we might have thought. This Alex seems to think this is a better spot against that defense. Somebody operating from the slot. So I don't know. So I did for Christian Kirk. Yeah, not expecting him back at this point, and certainly been a big disappointment. The last month if you've owned him. You've been stuck with him, right?
Yeah, you have, but he's electric. He is someone that, given the targets and in a full healthy offense, Kyler Murray's coming around. You're happy now where you draft him. You just see, Christian Kirk. You're happy to hold on to him. He, through the injury or anything, once he gets back there, the Cardinals are going to need to surge in the second half of the season. I think that's a good hold there.
Well, I think that's sharp, Matt. I think that's sharp because, he was going over 10 targets a game out of the gate. I don't know that he's a guy that can keep that up, but you can flip this whole thing on its head and say Fitzgerald hadn't really been gangbusters with his opportunities here. They need a guy like Christian Kirk, and like you say, Kyler Murray really heating up. And Kirk gets in that slot like the way Kingsbury likes. So, I mean, hopefully, if you're a winning team, he's been I think he is a good stash. And, maybe he hasn't cost you too much along the way just because of where you drafted him. You've probably had other options to get by at this point.
Meanwhile, everybody's waiting for the Andy Isabella breakout game.
What do you think's going on? You think they've just totally soured on him completely? I mean, they spent the second round pick on him. What's going on there?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say the two question marks with him are, where are you going to play him, outside or inside? I mean, in my opinion, in a Kingsbury, you move that guy into the slot. There's a lot of people that think you play Isabella outside. To me, he's a lot like Christian Kirk and his versatility there. So, I think there's a role for him, but maybe there's some duplicity in that offense, and he is coming from UMass and the NFL. This is a new system for him. He's probably having the typical adjustment here.
In the second round, though, that's a major miss.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit of a reach, right? I mean, the big thing at the senior, as good as Isabella, I mean, he's a guy that you get a little concerned about when you're scouting him. I mean, he has some real upside to him, and he's got great separation ability, but he's a little bit of a body catcher. He has small hands.
And you would know by
he's just
scouting him.
Yeah, I mean, he's watching at the Senior Bowl. I mean, he was outperformed definitely by guys like, McLaurin, Deebo Samuel. Not that that's an indictment, but those are nice players. But I mean, Isabella's not a can't miss prospect. They were looking for speed and I think versatility to fit Kingsbury's scheme, and I can see why on paper it appeared like that. But man, wide receiver is not a shoe-in. I mean, you want to talk about, if they miss on him, that's bad. They also miss on Hakeem Butler. That's even worse, man. They get both those guys wrong, and that's a problem.
Yeah, but in all fairness, Hakeem Butler, he's out for the season. They're not going to know until the end of next year with him.
Well, and like you said, you said, with duplicity, if they want to play him in the slot, that's Larry Fitzgerald's position. I mean, they got to ride with him, and when
They're not putting him on the outside. Andy Isabella is like my height. You're not putting him on the outside of the NFL.
Kevin S. here, he says he's 6-0. His team name is Bathroom Brawlers. Brandon Buxton, Buck Nasty 6-0. Right to Ewalps here, living the Christian life 6-0. He's got a flex question, full point PPR. David Montgomery, Diggs, or Crowder?
Probably
Isn't it
Diggs
a travesty?
Crowder, right?
Isn't it a travesty, Byron, that Diggs is now having to be in a flex question with Crowder? I mean, this is Stephon Diggs here we're talking about.
Yeah, it is a bit of a travesty because Diggs has been such a consistent play. Part of the allure for Diggs is that he's had a pretty solid and consistent floor in recent years, and so far we're seeing a much more boom-bust player so far this season. See, we got Diggs at 25. The industry has him at 22, and this is in half point. Crowder, everybody has around low wide receiver 3. So I think you got to go with the upside of a Diggs there, right?
Got to go the upside there. Richard Amos, thanks for doing these on Sundays. Thank you, Richard, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Pick 2 of Duke Williams, play the song. Robbie Anderson, Dante Pettis, and Mark Walton play the song. This is for both PPR and non-PPR. Whoa, what?
Yeah, I mean, why are you sour on Duke Williams? He looked good.
I'm not saying I'm sour. I'm saying play the song. Play the song.
I mean, it is ugly. That's an ugly lineup there. And I mean, look, I faded Robbie Anderson, what I thought was a tough matchup last week, and put a guy like Preston Williams in. That didn't work out. I mean, I think this is a worse matchup for Robbie Anderson, though. He's gotten 2 points a game the last 3 times he's played the Patriots, and Gilmore just puts everybody on lockdown. Problem is your other options are pretty bad, and at least Anderson can get loose for a big one.
There you go.
Yeah,
Dante Pettis is a guy I'm interested in this week, too. I know we got to watch the field conditions in Washington a little bit right now, but he's had some very under-the-radar trends working in his direction lately. I've rostered him in some of my deep leagues, and I've been kind of excited to see what happens with Pettis this week. I don't know if that's indicative of that he's actually going to put up numbers or not, but it could be a wait and see. But he's a guy that there's some things percolating for.
Yeah, it seems
I would have to say – go ahead, Seth.
I was saying it seems like Pettis is out of the doghouse finally in week 7. No Deebo Samuel. It's a good spot for him. I agree.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson, right. Dante Pettis, Butterfinger 87, 2-4 standard league.
Finally, a guy who's not 6-0.
Singletary or Frank Gore this week, Byron. This is a nice one.
I mean, don't you want to live life and get Devin Singletary into your lineup?
Yes, I do.
Are you worried about the usage at all?
No.
Are you worried about the usage? No.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. I'm worried about Frank Gore's usage at any time. He's 50 years old. I mean,
hey,
you know what I mean? Even when he's gotten the touches, he's had some big games, but man, you can't. That's not a reliable players. Singletary has been a beast on his touches when he's been in. So,
and he's the future.
Yeldon sucks, man. He's the future. It's a good matchup. They're favored by 17 points. I mean, I don't know what else you could – those are two bad options. I don't know what else you could hope for. And the other way to split that hair is like Singletary, probably the guy way more capable of making some big chunk plays. You know, Gore, I guess, might have the red zone chops a little bit more, but man, I think I'm rolling Singletary there.
Let's roll Singletary. B. Ollie, brother, what's going on? Do we have info on Amari Cooper, Byron? In PPR, Larry Fitzgerald or Amari Cooper?
I mean, Cooper's going to play. I thought it was strange this entire time. We were worried about him missing time with the quad. I know that can be bad, but it seems like he just didn't practice, and he's pretty much ready to go in a monster matchup. I mean, I want to say Amari Cooper. I mean, I guess, guys, you could make the argument in PPR. Larry Fitzgerald is the safe play here because Cooper can, he can ghost you in a given week. But
we have a rule: if your wide receivers are going up against Philly, you start them.
All right, I like that, man. Play the matchups, man. Play the matchups and just play the best player. And you know what? Let the chips fall where they may. If it doesn't work out, you can't feel bad.
Speaking of matchups, Byron, if you get a pro membership at rosterwatch.com, you get the wonderful matchup tool. It is easy to read, easy to use, and it is what we use helping just part these thin hairs when we're deciding. So get a pro membership, cheaper than a cheap cup of coffee. We've got Sully here with a couple lights, killing it, fellas. Thank you, Sully. We appreciate it. You're going down this week. Freddie D, hello, gents. 2 and 4 need 2. Tate, Mike Williams, Metcalf, or Crowder. It seems, Byron, with all of the buys this week at the very top end, we're getting a lot of the same guys, and just rightfully so.
Just if you're saying Tate, specify Auden or Golden because both are in play today.
Oh,
I think it's Golden. I think it would be Golden.
I would think Auden.
That's what I'm saying. Just specify people if you're going to call him with a Tate.
So let's say it's Golden Tate. Golden Tate, Mike Williams, Metcalf, Crowder, need 2. For me, it's Tate and Crowder. Byron, what about you?
And it said it was PPR?
PPR.
I think so. I mean, those guys are slot machines, right? I mean, the little PPR guys.
Pull the lever.
You worry a little bit. The targets could, move away from Tate a little bit. You get an Evan Ingram and a Barkley back, but we're a little worried Patrick Peterson's going to be on Darius Slayton. I think Tate is a fine play. I mean, that guy's got some good options, right? I mean, Mike, the fact is Mike Williams can be the number 1 target on the Chargers at any given week, but that thing looks like a precarious situation, and you could easily argue that he is behind Keenan Allen. He might be behind Hunter Henry in a given week. We've seen Eckler could out-target him in a given week, so they could go to the run. They're really trying to force feed. They're kind of trying to really force Melvin Gordon back into the offense. I think too many question marks to chase the targets on Mike Williams. Maybe that's like Alex said, buy low on the buy low model in DFS from Josh Hearns, whoever established the run. He's a guy this week, but part of that could be artificial just based on his air yards came from 2 garbage time, like late Hail Marys last week. It's not sure how predictive.
Yeah, but with Mike Williams, with Mike Williams with the 10 and 13 targets the last 2 weeks, that doesn't excite you. I know you said you don't.
I mean, it does, man. This guy's got good options. It's a hard situation. I mean,
yeah,
but you just try to think, I guess, who's what I would look at. If I'm not sure, I'd start splitting the hairs by the matchups. I would go to the matchup tool and I would look which game has the biggest game total. Which game is expected to have the most points? Who's got the best matchup? If I'm looking at wide receivers, I always like to go to the matchup tool. I like to play wide receivers on the teams that are dogs. I like to play my running backs on the teams that are favorites if I'm trying to split some hairs. So that's ultimately what you're doing here is kind of going just down the list and trying to split a few hairs between these guys. With snap counts, go to the snap counts, targets, and touches tool. Look at their snap percentages over the last couple of weeks. I mean, you can go to the touchdown dependency tool, see are these guys touchdown dependent or are these guys that have been reliable just based on yardage and organic production. I mean, that's just kind of a list of things you start going down and checking off the boxes, and you say, all right, well, man, it just appears that player X, let's just say Golden Tate, is in the higher game total, better matchup. The targets are there, and then you just say, well, that's like that's the best decision I can make with the information at hand. He seems to be more of he appears like he'll be more of a focal point this week from the information that we have. The Vegas prop, another great place to look, right? You need to go to the Vegas prop, even in your season-long flex decisions, to just see who Vegas likes. I mean, that's a big deal too.
You could only do that with a pro membership at rosterwatch.com. And the answer there, Byron, just to run down the tools, we have the Giants at a 50-point over-under. It's the highest over-under total with a 9th best matchup opposing wide receivers. You got to go Tate with all the information there. And so are we going to roll Crowder, Metcalf, or Mike Williams there to finish it off?
I mean, I said let's remove Metcalf from the situation, but he's not a volume guy in PPR. So now it's Crowder versus Mike Williams. And
Crowder's just going to get peppered today, man.
Okay, well, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
Crowder.
You don't feel bad about getting Golden Tate and Jameson Crowder in a PPR. You can't get all these guys in. Fortunately, the guy's got an amazing team. If you hate making this flex decision every week, you guys need to take 2 of those players and go trade them for one player in return, and not only one better player in return, not only are you going to upgrade your starting roster that way, and you're going to open up a roster spot for an important waiver ad that you can cultivate some value on this week as you continue to level your team up in steps over the course of the season. But you can eliminate these nightmare headaches, man. It's agonizing to make a decision every week between those 5 guys who are all very good plays. Get rid of a couple of them and get somebody back that's like a must start every week. You don't even have to make this decision.
Would you trade like 2 of those guys for a superstar that hasn't performed well, like Juju?
No, I mean, maybe 2 low end guys. I could take like a Golden Tate and whoever was the,
like, say, Mike Williams. Would you cash
maybe,
Golden Tate,
maybe.
Metcalf. Golden Tate and Metcalf.
I'm not sure you love DK Metcalf, but I think you can do that. I mean, you can. Yes, you can do something like that. Yes.
All right, Byron, we are halfway through our 1-hour start-sit show. Let's just raffle through them here. Jacob Alderman, Crowder or Latavius Murray, Byron? Assuming PPR.
Yep.
Crowder.
Stephen Mead, Latavius Murray or Devin Singletary, half point.
Ooh. I really want to say Singletary, but let's just go with the known volume here, and Latavius Murray.
Lat Murray, Butterfinger. Ewalps already has a pro membership, of course. Of course he does. Ewalps. Butterfinger 87 also for the flex. Hooper or Terry McLaurin. Standard.
Well, first of all, thank you, Ewalps, for your loyal support. We really appreciate it. And that was Hooper versus who?
That was Hooper
TMC.
versus Terry. Catch TMC.
Alex said he didn't like Terry McLaurin this week. And I know Hooper is basically at the top of the food chain. Boy, that sure does feel weird putting in.
Right. Well, against San Francisco, though, like
Hooper.
but
that defense looks elite, man.
That
defense looks very elite. Put Hooper in.
Yeah, Hooper gets his every week. It's every single week.
Crazy. It's honestly crazy.
But it is. It's the facts now.
I mean, he is the, everyone would talk about the Will Dissleys and all these other, guys we've cultivated off of waivers this year, being last year's George Kittle. The people who drafted Evan Ingram been beating the drum about that. But I mean, it looks like Austin Hooper may actually be the guy.
He's one of the answers this year. A lot of championship teams are going to have Hooper as their tight end.
It's just crazy, but it's true.
Yep, Hooper, and then for me, it was Dalvin Cook in the first round. If you were in the back half of the first round,
humble brag.
Humble brag. So Jacob already asked that question. Sully here, Byron. See you in Vegas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You will not.
Start sit just came through on Slack that I thought was pretty good. James White or Daryl Henderson.
Oh,
that's a very. You think James White is the easy one?
I don't think so. I think I think it's a classic floor ceiling.
Gurley's playing though. Gurley's playing.
Yeah, but Henderson, if you watched that game last week, just looks like he is like salivating to break a long one.
I mean, I own him everywhere just in case, because if something happens, he's going to be
league winning. I hate my term.
Very, very valuable. I don't know. I don't know about he's going to be a very important piece, but I think you got to go James White here, guys.
Interesting. Okay.
James White.
It's two great options, and you can make an argument for either.
It's classic.
Rationale, kind of classic logic would say you get James White in here, and it's not a bad play. You don't feel bad about it. It's a good play.
It feels floor birth feeling.
Yeah, Matt MC here, Zade Jones or Melvin Gordon in standard.
Well, that's too cockamamie.
Cockamamie. Is the trash man in here asking questions here? Play the song. Melvin Gordon is the answer there.
Yeah.
Michelle Matthews. Good
Zay
morning,
Jones is going to go off for like 2 touchdowns.
I know, it just ruined us.
Zade Jones.
Zade, yeah. Who's Zade Jones?
That's his cousin.
Is the bad weather in DC enough to switch from Catch TMC to Kenny Golladay?
Yes.
Kenny Golladay, yeah, Byron. Kenny Golladay on the flex values based on Vegas prop, very, very high. Four and a half catch for 69 yards with a 1.
All over the cheat sheets this week, everywhere he's trending. If it doesn't work out, man, I mean, so be it. He's a player that has all of the trends in his favor this week.
Hey, Byron, I got one for you too. That this one's in some deeper leagues. I saw this question come through. I thought this was interesting.
Okay.
In a desperation PPR running back spot, Wendell Smallwood with Chris Thompson out or Nyheim Hines? Total desperation play. Which one do you like better?
Jesus, man. Probably Hines. I mean, Hines has actually had there's been no upside there, but he's had some very low end serviceability in these spots. So maybe he's the guy that we have the most evidence on. I kind of thought about that Smallwood thing earlier in the week when I did my rankings and everything, and figuring Thompson was going to be out. There could be something there, but how can you possibly hang your hat on that? And like you guys said, I mean, isn't that the matchup with the 49ers defense that we're just think is turning? I mean, that their defensive line is disgusting.
It is disgusting. Yeah. Yes. And it is comprised outside of the top end. I mean, it is comprised of top 10 picks on there that, haven't really came out and been explosive, but together, oh my gosh, this year, you can't do nothing on that defensive line. Those guys are amazing. Christian S has, do I wait on MVS or drop him to pick up Pettis, Cobb, Corey Davis, Kumaro, Snead, Aguilar, or Jacoby Myers, half-point PPR, 1 week spot start? Essentially, for me, it's MVS or Pettis. It seems like the question really is here, Pettis, Byron.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Byron.
Go ahead.
I'm assuming that they got to play this individual this week. I mean, this is for the win this week, then I think you got to pivot to somebody like a Pettis. I mean, I don't see how you can take. I mean, you take your chances with an injured player and a must-win, a guy that it's not even. He's kind of been disappointing, Anyways, even when Devontae out, you thought there's been some good spots for him lately. He could go big anytime, but I don't want to. He's a race car too, man. I don't want a guy like that so much when he's injured.
Do we have any thoughts about Corey Davis with Ryan Tannehill now?
That's a sneaky one. Like, it just depends if some of this question comes down to how much of a stash this is. Like, if I'm going to make that move for the rest of the season and I want to feel a little better about it, then maybe picking up somebody like a Corey Davis with a change of scenery at quarterback at least makes me feel a little better just based on the name value and the possible upside there.
Corey Davis is going to be a good NFL player. It's just not going to be on the Titans. You know that. It's going to be somewhere else.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what wide receivers Tannehill's ever really made relevant.
None.
Jarvis Landry, like
7 yards
Jarvis.
I was going to say, and
like 8 yards per reception.
And MVS is totally miscast as a number 2. It seems like he would be like the perfect number 3 receiver on a team, and when forced into the number 1 with Devontae Adams out, that's just a complete.
Well, it's funny that you say that because in our minds, the guy that he has a lot of parallels with is Traquan Smith, and it's been interesting that those guys have been treated, viewed and. Maybe a little bit differently in the NFL so far. Yeah, those are 2 very similar players. You'd much rather have those guys as like your wide receiver 3.
Yes, much rather. And I would even argue that Corey Davis is the same way, typecasted as a number 1 receiver, and he's not. I don't see him in that role. I see him better fit as a number 2.
Then he turns into Nelson Aguilar, though. Because he needs volume. He's not going to be any good if he doesn't get any volume. That's a problem, right? Like, that's just it's a bad – maybe you can get him into an offense that just has more volume all around, and you can be like some of these offenses. The number 2 still gets a lot of volume. That would be a good situation with Corey Davis.
And then
that'd be a great one. Go ahead, Sez.
While you're sticking with the Green Bay receivers, with both Allison and MVS active, are you just totally abandoned ship on all the Lizard King?
I don't think so. No, I don't. And I don't hate Alan Lazard as much as Alex does either. Now, Alex is all over the Big 12, obviously. He covers that very closely. But Lazard was a guy I didn't absolutely hate at the Senior Bowl, actually. And he has some decent tape, and there's some people that really like him. But he looked awesome last week, didn't he?
The Lazard King.
He played awesome, right? I mean, give the guy some damn credit. He looked freaking good, right?
And the thing you like is that Rodgers asked for him to come in the game. That's what you like too. I know it's anecdotal, but it's
that's a big deal, man.
Yeah,
these you find out, man, that that relationship makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
And who gets the targets. It really, really does. So, I mean, that's a deep, thin desperation play. I mean, if in DFS, if you've got him in like a 3,000 or whatever it is on DraftKings, I don't think you have 100% exposure to him, but you can have a little of him in your portfolio. And in like a 16-teamer where you're screwed at flex, I think you could do worse, man.
All right, let's get to Kevin S. down the line here. Fuller, Golden. I'm assuming this is Golden Tate.
Yeah,
Calvin
he wrote Golden.
Ridley.
He wrote Golden.
He wrote Golden somewhere down the line. Okay, yes, Golden Tate, Fuller, or Ridley. Full point PPR.
Well, it's not going to be Ridley in PPR, even though there's things to like about him.
You want to go back to the well
with the Golden Tate?
With Fuller, I'd say. I mean, go back
Fuller.
to the well.
I know that's Shane's guy, Fuller. I mean, he's been
just give me
pretty damn good, man. Yeah, that's fine. Let's get Will Fuller in there, man. It's just the upside, I guess. Let's get Will Fuller in there. Who knows what's going to happen with Tate with these other guys back?
10th best matchup on the week, going up against Indianapolis. Kevin S. also has another question. Kyler Murray, Gardner Minshew, or Andy Dalton, pick 2. Kyler, of course. So Minshew or Dalton?
I'd play the matchup in that one. Minshew's at home. Let's see who's going to be playing from behind. Who's got the better matchup? Let's see. You guys got it pulled up?
Yep.
Yeah,
so
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's, that's the 4th best matchup for QBs in an over-under of 44. And then we have they're playing each other. So,
What's the spread on that game?
-4.5.
For Jacksonville at home?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's close enough that you don't really worried about a slide. I mean, that should be a competitive game where they're still bumped. Is it Dalton?
Dalton.
Ugh. If it's my team, I'm playing Gardner.
Gardner Minshew.
If it's my team.
Maybe, yeah. I like that, man. That's who's going to be higher in the rankings. It's a tough call. I think they're both like reasonable emergency options this week.
We had this debate on Friday, Byron, about Minshew, and we were just saying that my perspective, me and Matt went in a heated debate here. I think Minshew has basically been exposed as sort of like a guy that could be a great backup in this league, but if they can get value, like a second-round pick for him, just do it right away. Because when Nick Foles comes back, I
can't agree with you more. I mean, Minshew is a player I like. That he's the guy that could be on the roster watch Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins trajectory. I mean, he was that kind of guy, maybe from the Senior Bowl that comes in. We liked him, comes in, can be a backup, is maybe better than a lot of people gave him credit for, and they can emerge a little bit. I'd say he's on the tail end of that group. It's a wait and see. You certainly like what you've seen out of him so far, but I'm looking at this aside from that, just from the fantasy perspective. When I'm splitting hairs on these quarterbacks, like let's see, we're saying that Andy Dalton. So look, Minshew has a way better matchup per the matchup tool than Dalton, and he's at home. So that's the first thing I'm probably going to just take Minshew on. But if I got to keep going down the line, another thing I like to look at with these quarterbacks are attempts per game. So Minshew at 32 attempts per game, Andy Dalton with 40 attempts a game. I mean, that's certainly enough for you to stop and think twice about. I think I'm going to go for some Minshew magic, maybe. I don't know.
Dude, you love the mustache. Close. Okay, you pick them no matter what. You pick the guy with the better mustache.
Those are two good options as your second quarterback in a 2 QB league where you're pretty thin. So,
all right, Byron, we have 15 minutes left, Byron, and 100 questions. So we're going to go ahead and just give a snap call. Butterfinger, 2 and 4, standard league, Singletary or Frank Gore. So before it was a PPR, now we're talking about in standard, Singletary, Frank Gore. Same thing,
same, right? Probably the same.
I think it's the same. I think it's
you
could argue for Gore, but let's get excited and get Singletary in, man.
Kevin S., he said pick 2 out of 3, Fuller, Tate, Ridley. So the answer to that was Fuller and Tate because we said no on Ridley, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Justin Destrain. Thumbs McGee, 3-3. I have a terrible flex question in a PPR. The Lazard King, Drake, or Walton?
Miami is at Buffalo. I hate that for Kenyon Drake. I'm putting Lazard in.
Lazard is going in. Freddie D.
You hate that, Alan? You want to get some shares of Mark Walton this week, man?
I like Mark Walton. I know that you guys don't like him, but just from a fantasy perspective, I think like they just want to see who's going to be on the roster.
What the hell happened with him over the course of the week where he kind of fell off from looking like he was going to be like the lead guy to it feeling like that's a muddy timeshare?
Yeah, I mean, well, I still believe that they're going to trade Kenyon Drake and just take whatever, because he's a unrestricted free agent. He could just walk, and he probably holds some value. So I just think that this is an audition from here on out for all the Dolphins. I mean, Devontae Parker got the nod.
So we got to pick Balaj back up. Then, as bad as he is, he's got to be owned as a stash right now. I mean, he absolutely sucks. I think he hates football.
Well, hilarious. Every time, just as an aside, Al, as an aside, every time I see Balaj drop a freaking ball, I think of that question you asked him when you were at the training camp, and he just like totally, like you could just tell he gave you like the look of death, being like, it's just one play, right?
That's so funny that came through on the audio, because that's exactly how he looked at me. He looked at me so pissed off that I would ask him that question. But he also acted like he didn't care or give a shit. And it's funny you say that, Shane. Every time I see him drop a ball, that's all I think about. And I think about that in addition to all the balls he dropped over 2 days of joint training camp practice against the Bucs. And that's the reason I asked him the question. It didn't make any sense, man. He just doesn't seem like he cares, and that's a real problem in the NFL. Otherwise, he would be doing better than he is. But that said, I would say it's pretty reasonable idea that Kenyon Drake does get traded. I mean, Mark Walton, I can see getting some interest in him, but he just does not have workhorse viability over any large stretch of time. And so what else are they going to do? They're not going to trade for another running back. All of a sudden, that just means by default, Balaj is going to be getting volume, or at least like goal line carries and stuff, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but in a competitive league, if we're thinking Kenyon Drake's about to get traded, we got to consider that. Let's keep going here, guys. I got about maybe 5-10 questions left in me. I got to get back to some other work.
Well, we have more than 5. So I'm going to skip Freddie D's question because he's basically adding Pettis back in. But Chico's bail bonds, 4-2 PPR, flex spot, Golden Tate, Matt Breida, or Carlos Hyde. Hyde. Alja, happy Sunday, guys. Should I still with Larry Fitz in my flex over Devin Singletary? I'm a little tempted to slide Singletary in with this matchup versus Miami.
I think I just stick with Larry Fitzgerald and outsmart. Those are two good options. Stick with Fitzgerald and outsmart yourself there. It can be similar plays.
B. Ollie with Kirk out. Need one for the flex. Kumaro, Slayton, Parker, Quinn, Cobb, Renfro.
Jesus
Christ. Play the song. Or wait, Jay Brown.
Now, not John Brown. You know that's Gerard Brown.
But he did catch a couple touchdowns. I mean, now there's opportunity there for.
I'd say Cobb is sneaky. Cobb is sneaky against Philadelphia. I absolutely love Slayton, but I worry about that with Peterson. Kumaro is sneaky. I mean, Kumaro you probably only like if those other guys would definitively out those. I'd say right now, if I had to play one of those guys, it would be Randall Cobb. Legion of Doom, 4-2 PPR. He needs 2 wide receivers out of the 4. Cooper, Baby Shark, Thielen, and Lockett, 2 of 4.
Ooh, damn.
Well, you're getting the Golden Son, Cooper Kupp in for sure.
Or Amari Cooper. I was thinking.
Amari Cooper. That's what that is. Sorry, you can see where my head's at. Boy, this is a tough question, right?
Cooper Kupp is now the number 1 wide receiver, though, right? We all agree on that in that team? Like it's.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure.
It's just legendary.
That was literally your best call of that year. I mean, you guys were in on him when everyone was doubting if he was an NFL player. I mean, that is.
Oh, dude, we went on record and said, and I was the one who this thought struck me was at the Senior Bowl, because I think it was a year or two after Aaron Donald. And I thought, man, in all of our years here, next to Aaron Donald, who everybody universally agreed dominated in a way that nobody had seen in like 20 years at the Senior Bowl. I was like, man, Cooper Kupp is the only other guy I can even think of that's in the neighborhood of what Aaron Donald has done since I've been scouting at the Senior Bowl. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. I mean, you can't get them all right. I missed on him a little bit this year, which is so strange. It's like the guy on the very forefront of his fan club. But at the end, you can't own all these guys, and we hit so many other places. Like that one thing's not going to sink your ship, and you weren't getting a ton. I mean, I guess looking back, you were getting a lot of value on him, but it felt so rich at the time. So.
A week 9 ACL is an automatic fade for me. You're going to profit by getting more
with all those other options and stuff. And McVay was pretty close to the vest at the combine. I thought for sure McVay is the kind of guy that at the combine, he's usually pretty forthright and good in his press conferences. I thought for sure he'd come out at the combine and say like how much it hurt their offense not having Cooper Kupp down the stretch. He acted like he didn't even care when we asked him that question, So, I mean, it could be coach speak, obviously, and clearly that's turned out to be the case. So, I think it was a calculated fate. It didn't work out, but so many other things it hadn't mattered. So the question was Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett,
Shark,
DJ Chark, and Adam Thielen. I got to just tell you at this point, man, you just got to go with the rankings on the site, I think. I mean, Cooper is a guy that we probably need to give a bump because of those early week injury concerns have been alleviated. I mean, do you guys get Amari? You get Amari Cooper in. Like, this is a must win for the Dallas Cowboys in the best matchup possible.
He just has an elevated first quarter injury risk. If it's normally like 20% to say or 15%, it feels like it's more like 35%. That could go sideways on you quickly. So that's the reason he's in a lot of these questions.
Yeah, well, I'm getting
Amari Cooper and Tyler Lockett in my lineup. I know there's people that are worried about Marlon Humphrey covering Tyler Lockett, which is a little bit concerning, but Lockett's just been so good, and they're at home.
Can't cover Tyler Lockett.
He can't. He's really hard to cover. He's a tough guy to fade. So those are 4 good options. You could put a blindfold on and reach in a hat and pick out 2, and I'd be pretty happy with any of them.
Yeah. Okay. So Byron, we're just going to do this. We're going to get through the rest of these questions, but snap calls. Okay. All right. So Legion of Doom, we got that. Due to buys, I'm stuck playing Hollywood Brown or dropping him from my team to replace. Do I drop and take the 0 on the box score to keep him on my team going forward? 3 and 3 PPR.
Well, it depends to some extent on who you're picking up. Like, are you picking up a guy you think is going to help you win this week? I don't. As much as I love Hollywood Brown, I certainly don't think a 3 and 3 team can afford to take zeros in their lineups. You got to win now, man. So
what about Lazard? Let's say he's dropping Marquise Brown for Lazard just for this week.
I think I make the play, man, and then I'll just recycle that spot. If I was 4 and 2, 5 and 1, I might not do it. 3 and 3, man. You cannot take a 0. At that point, you just gotta. If you have to, you're gonna have to recycle through the waiver wire every week, try to refill that spot. I think we can do it.
Boom.
What about Zay Jones? We're one of these guys. I'm not saying I don't know if it'll be a better play or not, but you got to think about it, man. I'd probably
drop. You have to win every single week.
Yeah, if you go to you do.
By the way, Zay Jones is inactive for the week.
Oh, good.
Oh, shit, really? All right.
Oh, wait. Is that – that's October 20th. Yep, 11:43. They declared him inactive.
So who the hell is it? Keelan Dawson? It's all the Darren Waller, man.
It's
Darren Waller.
Yeah. Roll with both Green Bay backups in PPR, sub 1 out for Madison. I think now that they're in, this might be a little bit easier question to answer.
Both Green Bay running backs? I'd probably just play them.
Yeah.
Yep. Play them. Okay. Kevin S says, there any discount? Oh, okay, sorry. There any discount codes for Roster Watch Pro being a Flex Network fan? You just go, hey, it's cheaper than a cheap cup of coffee, okay?
Yeah, it's the best value in all of fantasy sports. I mean,
I'll tell you what, go sign up for an annual. Sign up for the annual subscription. Email us, rosterwatch@gmail. Tell them Byron sent you for a discount. I will personally get you a discount on the annual subscription.
Boom. Wow. And you will love the annual subscription. It will be the Bible here.
Christmas in October for this guy.
AP or a wide receiver waiver dart in PPR.
Wide receiver waiver dart. I mean, depending. Not Lazard.
Oh,
who's the dart? Okay.
Yeah, well, who's the dart? But we'll go with the dart over AP. Devin Singletary.
Get him in PPR.
There you go. Devin Singletary or Austin Eckler, half point PPR. Who am I flexing?
I mean, it's got to be Eckler, right?
Yeah.
Terry
had that question
McLaurin
earlier. I took Eckler.
Terry McLaurin, Jamison Crowder, DK Metcalf, full point PPR.
Oh man.
I love Crowder so much this week. I just like what Golden Tate did last week against the Patriots. I think Crowder's going to do this week.
Okay, I like that.
No Herndon still. I mean, come on.
That.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good call, Shane.
Like
Freddie
Very
D,
good.
gentlemen, don't you think
this is why you guys are the Flex Network?
That's
Right.
what we do. We flex. Gentlemen, don't you think if Jimmy Smith is out for Baltimore, Metcalf could have huge upside?
I think he has a lot of upside. I mean, he is the player I guess huge could apply in any. He just hasn't gotten the target volume for me to say huge, but he's a guy I like. I have a bunch of my DFS lineups. If I had him in season long, I'd be stoked to play him. I've loved him in Seattle all season long. I don't think he could have ended up really in a better place than he did. So, and he is an upside player. So a huge upside, mega upside. I don't know. DK Metcalf is a good play this week with legitimate upside.
Luke Wilson did nothing before. So why do we assume he's just going to walk in and take that Will Dissly role? I think those targets are going to go to DK.
Yeah, that's too cockamamie.
Ewalps, appreciate the hard work, gents. Thank you, Ewalps. Christian S., who is the better play half-point PPR, Kerryon Johnson or Sony Michel?
Well, Kerryon Johnson's all over the cheat sheet, so I'm going to go with him this week. I mean, that's and we're not, I'm not sure it's clear that it's going to be a great game script for Michelle. People coming around a little bit to this Jets side of the matchup right now. So I'd say Kerryon.
Kerryon. Okay, Byron, we're going to get through these right here. So let's do this. Baby Shark or Kenny Golladay?
Golladay.
Cousins or Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones.
Much obliged, gents. Thank you. PPR 2 and 4. Brown inactive. Good spot for Henderson now in the flex.
Yes, love it.
Marquise Brown, don't think he's playing this week. Diggs or Fuller, PPR.
You believe in
I want to say Fuller, man.
Okay.
It's crazy, but I'm gonna say Will Fuller. I want Deshaun Watson, I think.
You're drinking the flex juice here, Byron.
It's a tough one for me to swallow, but I think I gotta go there, man.
Yeah.
PPR need 2. Mark Ingram, James White, Gurley, Latavius Murray. Out of that, wide receivers are Alshon or John Brown. One flex from those, I guess.
So I want
or the
Todd Gurley and Mark Ingram.
Okay.
And then
Lat Murray, Alshon, or John Brown in the flex.
The guys over at Roto Grinders are saying they think John Brown could go bananas today.
Yeah.
In PPR.
Let's flex
Alshon, I hate Alshon Jeffrey. It's a tougher matchup finally for him. He's been so touch undependent. I'd say it's between – I forget about Latavius Murray. It's between James White or John Brown in the flex. I'll let you guys make the call on that one.
John Brown in the flex.
Yeah,
PPR need 2 running backs.
No, hold on a sec. Sorry, it's one wide receiver, Alshon and John Brown, right? And a flex.
Okay.
We're going John Brown above it, and then we're going to go James White in the flex over Alshon Jeffrey.
I like that. That's just
okay.
Fine. Mark Ingram, Todd Gurley, John Brown. And then who was it in the flex? That feels good, man.
No bad options there.
Yeah.
Edmonds or Johnson PPR, who has the highest floor?
Well, again, I think you have the elevated injury risk for DJ, but you can't if that's what he's talking about.
You can't sit David Johnson.
Yeah, no way.
You can't sit him. You can't sit him. Should I drop one for a defense? This is a crappy question. James Conner should not be dropped.
No.
Jameis Winston, Herndon, Madison, or Snell?
Snell?
For a defense.
Winston can be. It depends on your quarterback situation. It depends on your quarterback and tight end situation. So if I own Dalvin, there's no way I'm dropping Madison.
Even if you don't.
Yeah, I know Allen wants to hold him either way. I'm fine with that. Winston is clearly your backup quarterback. I think you can drop a backup quarterback or backup tight end at any time if you need to.
Herndon has, his hamstring.
How long can you hold him? I mean, I'm in a tight end hell in one of my leagues, so I'm wanting to hold on to Herndon just because I think there could be some big spots on the way back, but it's far from. I mean, you cannot hold backup tight ends and quarterbacks that are mediocre options when there's better pickups to be made out there.
And even when he's active, you can't even play him the first week. You got to do a wait and see on Herndon too.
Yeah.
So drop Winston then. Drop Winston.
Or Herndon, whatever one they want to do. Yeah.
All right. Donald Laster, John Brown, catch TMC or Hawk in the flex.
Got to be one of the receivers, right?
Got to be Brown.
John Brown. John Brown. Let's go, John Brown. Kevin,
Yeah.
hold on. Kevin S. from before says he's signing up today, Byron.
Beautiful, brother.
Awesome, Kevin. Thank you so much for your support, man.
Yeah, that's a DFS Army guy there.
Hey,
so
welcome,
nice.
welcome to
Good.
Roster Watch Nation.
Yes.
Have him email, if he signs up for an annual subscription, he can email us rosterwatch@gmail and put DFS Army, bonus code DFS Army in there. I'll personally make sure you get a discount on your annual subscription.
Christmas in
Boom.
October again. Here we go. I love it.
B. Ollie, Prescott over Rivers, ? He has Elliott. I don't know that makes
Don't
sense.
care about if you have Elliott or not, man. That's cockamamie subterfuge. You always just want to make the best starts every week, and Dak is ranked a lot higher than Phillip Rivers.
John M., Auden Tate or Cole Beasley. We're almost done here.
Auden Tate.
Auden Tate. Brett B. says, thanks, guys. Byron, he's a pro member for 2 years, as we are as well, Brett. I've been a pro member for over 5 years now, I believe, and it is just the best. I mean, like Shane had talked about, Byron goes to these training camps. He sat right in front of Balaj and basically – I was going to say shit all over the guy for dropping the cat. No, but he didn't. But you asked tough questions, and that's exactly what it is. When it's game time, you turn it on.
I just want to add to that is that the off-season, the value, I think, I mean, it's so valuable in season, but the off-season value of your membership is just as, if not more valuable. We have such a head start in our dynasty leagues because of the intelligence gathering that Byron and his team do. So,
Senior Bowl, draft, I believe you and Alex are essentially hosting the draft on SiriusXM Fantasy. Just incredible information coming in the offseason. So if you get your pro membership right now, guys, you will feast over the famine here. Derrick Henry, Tevin Coleman, Josh Jacobs, pick 2.
Love Josh Jacobs this week.
Yeah.
And
Henry's turned back into a pumpkin, huh?
He's got a great matchup, turning back into a pumpkin. You wonder if you saw how James Conner looked against these Chargers. You wonder if Tannehill coming in gives it a little juice. That said, like in DFS, I really love my Tevin Coleman 49ers defense stacks. I'm super stoked to roll Coleman out wherever I can. It's a tough one, man. I think it's Derrick Henry. I think you got to get Derrick Henry just based on the known volume, just in case it's a Mostert or a Breida swindle for Coleman.
There you go.
That's a tough call, man. Good, fantastic options. Jacobs for sure. You pick the one you like out of the other two. I don't think you can miss. I think if we got to split the hairs, you probably have to stick with Henry there.
We are quite preferential to Derrick Henry, having interviewed his high school head coach in the preseason here. So we always go Derrick Henry. Kevin S. just signed up, and his first question after signing up is Tupperware or Ziploc bags.
You got one real question left.
One last question, Byron. First, though, Byron, Tupperware or Ziploc bags? Let's be real here.
I use a lot of Ziploc bags.
Ziploc.
They're great for marinating. It's great for all my fit. When I go down and all my fishing down in the ocean side down here, I put all kinds of gear in there.
And then,
bait.
Last question. Team Venture 88 PPR needs 2 running backs: Carlos Hyde, Howard, or Gore.
That's a good question. I like this one.
I mean, Hyde for sure.
Yeah.
Gore or Jordan Howard.
Oh man.
This is it. Your whole entire week.
Miles Sanders coming on strong right now.
I want to look at the snap counts are still 29% or something last week. I mean, both of those guys both of those dudes are 13. I want to go based on the matchup, man. And the fact is, Buffalo is the number 1 matchup. Oh, Philadelphia the number 9 matchup. It's a 48-pointer with the Eagles. I don't know. That's a close call, man. That's a close call. Because half of me wants to say Jordan Howard in a division game, like. That's an important game. Maybe they're going to get that guy a little higher game total, but
life depends on it. What's the decision?
Your life depends on it, Byron.
Devin Singletary or Jordan Howard? Probably Jordan Howard.
Gore.
I mean, Gore or Howard. Probably Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard, Scott Kemet. We are a nation. Mike P. Maniacal Show. Thanks, fellas. Yo Mama So Fat 1. Thanks, guys. Good luck this week. Kip C. Thanks for the stream, fellas. Always amazing content. Let's rack up the W's. Please, right now, go to Twitter. Follow at RosterWatch. Go get a pro membership, just like Kevin S., our viewer. RosterWatch.com. FlexNetwork.com. Also follow us, the Flex Network, at the Flex Network 1 for one. Shane Seeley _ Shane, underneath Alan Seslowski at ALANSES Low Sky, and of course Byron Lambert from at Roster Watch. Follow us. Also, next week for your future Week 8 Start Sit show, let's get maniacal and win our weeks this year. See you later.
Peace.